Thank you for watching this Last Mile Profits video. You want to find out more about Bbox Rent and Store? Keep watching.
Last Mile Profits is brought to you by Parcel Pending by Quadient.
Gary, Bbox Rent and Store. Does that mean anything to you?
I saw a little bit about it this week. Yeah, this is the alternative use for lockers other than parcels and packages, I think.
Yeah, and just to fill our audience in, so Bpost has launched this service, Bbox Rent and Store, where for the princely sum of €1.80 for 4 hours, which is, if you do your maths, around about 45 cents per hour, or a special day rate of only €6, you can leave stuff in a locker. I'm not sure how big the locker is, so what could be in there, but I would imagine that the use case are going to be tourists who want to go out and look at Amsterdam or something and drop off their stuff. Can you think of any other use cases, Gary?
Well, I'm not sure I'd leave my stuff in Belgium if I was going to go and look at Amsterdam, but I think other than that, it's a fairly decent idea.
That's actually a very good point. Of course, I meant Brussels for all of our Belgian viewers. Sorry, I don't know why I got Amsterdam.
So I can see the appeal from the locker company, right? Because you're saying princely sum of €1.80 for 4 hours. That's a massive increment versus what you would get for having a package go through there. You know, if you get 24 hours rent in a locker for a parcel, you're lucky to get 60 cents or even 30 cents, let alone €6. So from a revenue perspective for Bpost, it's a banging deal, right? If you can get people to do this in a reasonable number, you can suddenly that location, if it is in a famous area, like, you know, if you had a locker next to the Mannequin P in the Grand Square in Brussels, you'd be coining it in, right?
So basically, what we're saying is that, and you're right, this is a lot of money to make. If you've got any locker space available, then, and I would suspect that they probably do, which is why they're doing this, then it makes a lot of sense. But what you didn't answer, Gary, is, you know, what is the use case other than the tourist, again, going to
Quadient, we signed deals with
Belgian person.
Yeah, in Quadient, we signed deals with the big locker providers, you know, number 1, number 2, and number 3 luggage provider, storage provider in the world. So there's a fairly obvious example. We talked about the EasyJet suitcase that you can buy and that fits in the locker. So I think there is this tangential overlap between luggage storage and the street furniture which is ideal to do it. There are other use cases. I've been approached in the past for lockers either near the beach or near sports stadiums. So you can leave valuables in the locker that you might not necessarily want to leave in a bag, you know, on a beach towel while you go swimming, or go take into. There's some very rough types go to these association football, soccer events, I hear. So you might not want to take everything into the stadium, or there might be stuff that you're carrying that you're not allowed to take into the stadium. So I think there are some very specific sort of ledger-based use cases, but I do foresee a problem with it.
But Gary, just one thing before you come on to the problem, I don't get one thing in terms of the valuables. So if I'm a tourist, I'd probably leave it in my safe in my hotel room, or in a locked suitcase. I agree the beach is probably not the safest place, but would you feel comfortable leaving your wallet or valuables in a locker?
Well, I'd like you to believe that lockers are quite secure, Marek. You seem to be implying a little bit here that they're not a secure and robust place to have stuff left. I mean, can I have my parcels left there? Are they okay?
Gary, I think it's a little bit different to have parcels and for people to be, if it becomes generally known that people leave valuables, so, you know, I wouldn't have anything like that, but you probably have your Rolex watch and something else, then...
I'm wearing a swatch, Marek. I'm wearing a swatch.
All right. Caught me out again. That's something that worries me a little bit, but hey, maybe I'm wrong.
I think you've this brings kind of onto where I see the issue, and it's an issue I have experienced a little bit, is even if the locker is absolutely secure and everything's robust and fine, and obviously you could have a brand new iPhone in there being delivered or a diverted parcel. So valuables will end up in lockers one way or another, but it is lucky dip when you prise them open. One of the problems here is when people put things in that they need urgently and there's a problem with the locker. So it's all well and good if the locker goes down or you've lost your QR code and it's your Vinted purchase or your eBay item or whatever it is sat in there. But if it's your wallet and your passport and you're on 24 hours, 48 hours for somebody to come and pop the door open for you, that's a bigger issue. So I think you can be very attracted to the revenue, but you've really also got to invest in customer service, because the expectations for service here are much higher and much more stringent and urgent than they are, I would argue, for parcel delivery.
Well, and then there's one other thing, Gary. If you're leaving your valuables, so the Rolex watch that you don't have, cash and other things, you start getting these issues. If for any reason the locker is broken into, or if the customer claims, hold on, I put this there, it's no longer there, it becomes a completely different ballgame.
Absolutely, and if lockers do have problems, they will go down. They lose connectivity. You can't scan your QR code. You can't pop your door. You need an engineer to come out and reset the thing, or someone's disconnected it if it's a mains powered locker. So there are things that can go wrong, and the consequences with a parcel, they're still serious. People, have got the right to get their stuff, but if you've put your luggage or passport, and you shouldn't put your passport in there. Most of the less luggage people say, do not leave your passport in your bag when you leave it, even in the man storage. Carry it with you. But people do. People are idiots, and if they have done that, the consequences are much higher. You're not making your Ryanair flight tonight, either with or without your bag, because you've lost your valuables. So I think great idea, lots of revenue potential. If you've got a marginal locker that needs a boost of revenue, this could be it, particularly if it's in one of these primo locations. But you've got to really invest in the infrastructure surrounding this offering to make it really work properly for customers.
Here we have it. Great idea. If it really works at any kind of scale, probably a nice revenue maker for Bpost. But the advice from Gary and from me is don't leave your passport in the locker.
Absolutely not.
Thank you, Gary.
Gary, I was looking at the subscriptions and realized that a huge number of our audience actually don't subscribe to watch our videos.
Really? That's outrageous. It's a bit like watching the BBC without your TV license. How can we keep it free if people aren't subscribing and letting us know they want more of this content? It's ridiculous.
And on top of that, if they're not subscribed, they don't get information about the latest hot episode where you can make one of your witty jokes and we can talk about something that is really important for our industry.
If I knew that a single act like that would make sure I got maximum time taking the mickey out of you, I'd be hitting subscribe in a heartbeat.
Well, look, so here we have it. Please, everyone, if you haven't subscribed yet, this is your opportunity. Click right now. The button should be there, or maybe there. Do it now and have it done.